Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Parlay, the best television show not on television. Awthentik and The Beard, week 11. Man, Awthentik hit this beat during the test before we went live. I just said, I'm ready to score some fantasy points. I'm ready to get some wins. But this is the biggest week thus far in fantasy football. You want to know why? Because The Beard is going against the man, the myth, the legend, the left side to my strong side, Mr. Awthentik.
Spike don't care.
I got you, brother. I got you. I'm not feeling quite as hype as you are. I am excited about this fantasy matchup one time, but I'm extremely worried about them New York Giants today going on them Detroit Lions, man. Detroit Lions are on a 2-game winning streak, I believe it is right now, trying to hit 3 for the first time all season. They definitely got some high-powered weapons on that offense, but otherwise, man, doing okay, man. I'm definitely ready for this matchup, though, man. Ready to talk a little fantasy football, man. A little top 3 one time. You know what I'm saying?
No, but last night I actually, I'm feeling a little, last night I did Friendsgiving at Josie's cousin's house, my prima's house. Shout out to Vanessa. So, chicken, turkey. We started with, the Dominican side. So empanadas, pupusas, that's how we started. And so, I started heavy. I had 4 pupusas, 4 empanadas.
Heavy.
And then we went into the turkey and the chicken
What is
the
it
rice.
that Dominicans put in their pupusas again? It was something interesting.
No, in the empanadas. It's raisins in the empanadas.
Raisins? Oh, no. Hell no.
Hey, all right, we're going to give some shout-outs to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate all the love, all the support. Everybody watching us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. If you are here on YouTube, do not forget to hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to tell a friend that the best television show not on television is live. It's about ready to be a crazy day. If you guys have any fantasy, I see JD. Look at Josie.
It tastes amazing. All capitals.
Don't forget, if you have any fantasy football questions throughout the show, drop them in the chat. We will be answering your questions throughout the stream, and we always try to leave a little bit of room at the end of the show to make sure that we answer some more questions.
There's some great questions in that chat already, man. I'm seeing a bunch of them. Wow.
So we're going to go ahead and start with a shout-out and a question, which I answered as I was prepping for the show this morning. Big shout-out to Kalen Dragon. Says, morning, y'all. Let's go, G-Men. Pick 2 of these receivers to start. I already answered. I went Tony and Ayuk.
Oh, man. Kalen, you're letting the cat out the bag for my sleeper section here one time. I'm definitely going Kadarius Toney and Sutton one time, man. Both of those offenses are lacking weapons, man, due to injury, man. So both those guys should step up, man. Cortland Sutton, man, he has great statistics, almost doubles his fantasy numbers when Jerry Jeudy is out of the lineup. And Kadarius Toney, man, they're missing Mecole Hardman. They're missing Marquez Valdez-Scantling, right? And they're missing
Scantling's gonna play. Juju's out though.
Juju's out. And then I feel like there was one. Oh no, it's 3 for the Denver Broncos. It was Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and KJ Hamler.
Yeah, so it's good. Those are some good options there. I think you can't go wrong with Sutton. I've been high on Ayuk over the last couple of weeks. He's just been performing very well. I think him and Jimmy G have a good chemistry. I know Debo's been banged up a little bit, but I really like Ayuk this weekend as well. Big shout out to Coach Taylor. J-Mo is in the building. Shout out to J-Mo. I've been watching a lot of The Wire lately, and they love to drink their Jameson on The Wire, so it's, I always think of J-Mo there. But Big Stan with a big question. What up, Stan? Says, top of the top, fellas. Justin Fields or Jalen Hurts? Listen, both of these guys are going to be having great games this weekend, but I'm riding with Big J. Big Justin.
Which J? Oh, Justin.
Big Justin.
He's going up against the Falcons. Jalen Hurts taking on the Colts. I mean, dog, you could flip a coin on this one, Stan. They both should have big days today, man. Jalen Hurts played well in that loss last week, too. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been pretty consistent the entire year. That's the one thing I worry about with Justin Fields is the fall off. You know Jalen Hurts, the floor is very high. I think I'd go Justin Fields, catch it while it's hot, man.
Catch it while it's hot. That's all you can do. Big shout out to the Beige Boy in the building, representing the Commanders. It says left hand up. Appreciate you stopping by. Waterfly.
Is there why is it left hand up? What is that part about it?
That's the song from the song.
I know it's the song, but I'm saying I get it's the hook, but does it mean anything? Like,
Oh,
does
no,
left hand
no.
up mean anything? They're just left hand. Okay, so I'm about to be Giants right hand up.
Oh, I can't wait. We're getting closer and closer to Washington, New York week.
Oh, yeah,
it's
we
gonna
right
be
there.
lit. It's gonna be lit. Big shout out, Waterfly. Appreciate you as always.
Big
Edward Squires is in the building, and you know, Authentic got to get this next.
Oh,
Shout
that's
out.
got to be Michael Knight. That's hard to do in the morning, brother. That's yeah. I just woke up, man.
Big shout out to
Michael Knight.
Gregory in the building.
Hey,
big
salute,
shout
man.
out to
Greg's over there
Glock.
from William Steele's channel, man. He's a good dude over there, man.
Glock is in the building. What up,
Shout out
Glock?
Glock, man.
Got to give a big shout out to the homie Paulie. Appreciate you stopping by. Lax
Paulie? What up?
Ofo is in the building. A lot of Giants fans. Jay
I'm
Jean is
waiting
in
for
the
some of these
building.
questions. It's some fire.
40 Luck is in the building. My wife is in the building. Kai 001
Hey,
is
big
in the
salute,
building. What was the award for the trivia question last week? Was the
Jeremy
sitting
Shockey.
right here. I'm still waiting for Jay Jean's information, but
Yeah, Jay Jean emailed me too. I just haven't gotten the confirmation on the address yet.
yeah,
But Jay
it
Jean
was
is in the chat one time.
Yeah.
Maybe Jay Jean sent the email. I haven't checked my email this morning.
So Jeremy Shockey autograph card was the last giveaway, and I got to give a big shout out to Ma Dukes in the building.
Hey, my Duke's in the building. How you doing?
Ma
bud?
Duke says, "Get out that Redskins rabbit foot." So for those of you that don't know, I posted it on Twitter last week for the Monday night game. I brought home this, burgundy rabbit's foot, put it on my keychain, hit it with a little, let's go, and we took down
Got a
the
little lucky.
undefeated Eagles. So, so the rabbit foot is definitely in full effect. So big shout out to see Anthony in the building. We got a ton of people in the building. Let's see if we can get to a couple of questions before we get to rocking. James Funk always holding us down on Facebook. Would you guys have dropped Tyler Boyd to pick up Kadarius Toney? I did. Ooh.
Oh, I thought you were agreeing, saying I did. I mean, it could be a good move. How many more weeks do we got before the playoffs? That's what's most important here. What do we got? 4 weeks?
I think, yeah, three or 4 weeks. So most leagues, so there's 18 weeks. So most leagues will have their championship game in week 17 because they normally don't do it the last week because too many teams were sitting players and it just doesn't make sense. So most championships will be week 17. So playoffs, if you're a 3-rounder, will start in week 14 or 15.
Got you.
If you're a 2-rounder, obviously it'll be 16 and 17. So
I mean, Boyd, Toney, the upside for Kadarius Toney right now is extremely high, man. I mean, he could be a guy in that offense, man. We know the Kansas City Chiefs like to sling the rock, and they're lacking weapons over there. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at it. Boyd's a good player too. I wouldn't be mad at it though. I'm surprised Kadarius Toney's available. That's what's wild. I'm surprised he was available for you.
I mean, it's tough because if you think about it, how big of an impact does Toney have when everybody's healthy? That's the big question. Tyler Boyd is seeing a little bit uptick, right now because Jamar Chase is out. But still, Tyler Boyd is one of those guys that can pop off at any point. That's the thing about that Bengals offense.
Miko Hardman knows on the IR for at least 4 weeks. So by the time he comes back, fantasy's going to be over.
Yeah, or it will be your
last couple games. I mean, yeah. So I think it's a good move because Valdez-Scantling is more of a deep ball kind of threat guy. And the small yards, the shorter yards, the little quick slants, those little getting the yak yards and whatnot. Kadarius Toney should be able to feast in that offense off that. I mean, it's just, is he ready? That's the major question. Is Kadarius Toney ready to jump through that window? I talked about this with the Giants. He had a window to be the number 1 wide receiver on this team. Easy window. I don't know what went wrong with Kadarius Toney with the Giants. They don't seem to be giving us a lot of information about that. But, I mean, last week, dude had a day, man. So he looks like he's on the up and up. Scored his first touchdown. He only been with that team for 2 weeks, man.
It's interesting how it works in Kansas City, man. I would love to have that feeling. I know Anthony, Bluegrass Picker, he's a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so I know he loves that every single week.
Oh, yeah,
Giants, Giants Mafia with a big question here. Gibson or Brian Robinson? I need one of them to play flex. It's a huge week for me. This is something I've been going back and forth with. I mean, the big thing here is Antonio. If you're in a PPR league, you have to go Antonio Gibson.
Yep.
Because Brian Robinson is not going to catch the ball out the backfield like Antonio Gibson.
Brian Robinson got 7 receiving yards on the entire season right now. And you got J.D. McKissick out on IR, I believe it is. Yep. So all that third down stuff is going to be going to Antonio Gibson. Washington is just playing this a little bit foolish, if you ask me, man. Antonio Gibson should be the main back. You know, it should be handled how the New York Giants handled Amon Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. That's how it should be handled. Bradshaw, you know, was the guy. He made the offense move, but Jacobs was also that bruiser that when you took Bradshaw out the game, Jacobs could get those goal line touchdowns, things like that, you know. And it just seems like Washington's kind of botching this, and this ain't the week to do that. They definitely got to figure out a way. This ain't the week. You know, you're sitting at 500, you got to make a move now.
Trap game, too. Trap game, indeed. Roman, shout out Roman, says James Conner or Jacoby Myers flex.
James Conner.
James Conner.
Yeah,
I'm going to go James Conner, too, especially since they got randomly cut Eno Benjamin, which was one of the weirdest things that happened this past week. I'm still waiting to hear why. I haven't had an explanation. It didn't make any sense to me. And obviously, Eno Benjamin got picked up immediately off of waivers by the Houston Texans. So shout out Eno Benjamin. He's always been I watched a lot of him in college. And big shout out to my Notre Dame Fighting Irish with a big win yesterday, 44-0.
Nice.
Next week, Notre Dame, USC, prime time, Saturday night. USC is now, I think, 10-1. They were number 7 this week. They had a big win over UCLA. And their quarterback is a guy a lot of people think is going to be one of the best quarterbacks to come out of college in the next year or two. So,
people saying
hands
down.
I don't like USC quarterbacks, but we will see. Saturday night should be.
But with this one right here, with this James Conner thing, you got to also think Zach Ertz banged up. Hollywood is coming back off an injury, the quarterback injury. What else are they going to do? They got to run the rock. So I really like James Conner in this spot right here.
And I think he's just going to get the volume now. I think maybe, like they got another rookie running back who scored his first touchdown not too long ago. So he's a guy that you might steal a couple of snaps, but nothing to where the percentage was when Eno Benjamin was backing up James Conner. So I think the volume is definitely there. Joe Deals wants to know, am I a homer if I start Fields over Josh Allen?
No. Josh, like y'all letting all the cat out the bag right now. I love it, though. It's all good. The thing about Josh Allen, man, he's coming off of 2 games where he turned the ball over a lot. He leads the league in interceptions, I believe, now with 10 interceptions, but he also is second in touchdowns with 20 touchdowns. I don't think you could go wrong with either one, but like I said with the earlier question, Fields is hot right now. You got to go off of that. You don't know when he might just kind of fizzle out a little bit. He's playing some of his best football, and until teams figure that out, I would ride with Justin Fields, man. The ability to be able to run the rock and throw it, I think he has a higher ceiling than Josh Allen does this week.
This is another. I'm right there with Awthentik, obviously. Josh Allen's still a little banged up, but they are playing indoors. I mean, that offense could get scary. But Justin Fields is just, the way he's running the ball right now, it just makes sense. You're getting 2 players at one position. So definitely something we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. James Funk with a crazy question. Cole Kmet or George Kittle?
And you could flip a coin on that. Kmet's playing some of his best football right now, man. He's definitely making that turn. He's been the major weapon over there in Chicago. But I'd go Kittle. I got Kittle in my lineup, man. I just think San Francisco, man, they're about to really make their push and make their run towards the playoffs. And Kittle should be a big part of that, man. CMC as well.
Yeah, this is very tough. I think right now I would go Cole Kmet just because there's so many hands to feed in San Francisco that I feel like Kmet is becoming a very centralized part of that offense. So I think I would lean towards Kmet, which sounds crazy because George Kittle is, skill-wise one of the best tight ends in the National Football League.
Yeah.
RJ, new face, I believe.
The one thing about Kmet, too, the matchup. The matchup is tougher, I feel like, a little bit. With George Kittle and them going up against the Arizona Cardinals, that might be real nice for real.
Very true. RJ, which I believe is a new face. If so, welcome to the Awthentik and The Beard family.
Salute.
Says, should I worry about starting Keenan Allen, Tony Campbell, and Samuel on the bench? I think you got to worry.
Tough.
You got to worry.
And Keenan Allen's playing at night, so if you do make that move, we've seen this with Keenan Allen a lot, bro. Like, they'll be like, oh, he's practiced all week, everything looks good, and then, you get the game time, and it's like he's still questionable and then maybe ruled out. Keenan Allen been dealing with injuries his whole entire career. So, who's playing at 4 o'clock out of those? Tony's a night receiver as well, too. So
that's what I would do. I would put Tony in.
Yeah, I would keep it with Tony and Keenan.
Yeah, make your decision.
Campbell been balling, too, though.
Curtis Samuel touches the ball a lot lately also.
I would stay away from Curtis Samuel. The game against the Texans should be run heavy.
Yeah. So I would start Tony and see what the reports are coming out when you get close to that game, because those two teams are playing each other, so it kind of leaves you a little bit of wiggle room. You're lucky
Yeah.
that you have Tony and Allen both going in the night game. So shout out Paulie says Cordero Patterson or Jonathan Taylor. Hail to the W, left hand up.
I'd go Jonathan Taylor on this one.
I understand the want to play Patterson because he can be so electric, catches the ball at the backfield. You know, he's been running very well since he got back. But Jonathan Taylor, I think, is going to be a staple of this offense with Jeff Saturday taking over at the realm.
Jeff Saturday, that just sounds
coach.
so crazy.
Yeah,
but they're going up against the Eagles too, and I mean, you saw it firsthand last week, Paulie. You know, Washington, committed to the run all game. What was it, 49 attempts, only 150-something yards on the 49 attempts. The yards per clip wasn't that much, but I don't think y'all really have those breakaway type of running backs like Jonathan Taylor is. And I think he proved that he's healthy. Last week, man, he had that big run, that 66-yard run, and you saw people was chasing him. It wasn't like, they was catching up to him or he looked like he was still hobbled. And what was it, 147 on 22 carries and a touchdown last week. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely like Jonathan Taylor. Paul Wall says Tony, Olave, or baby. Jamal Williams. I'm going to go Tony.
I'm going to go Olave, right? But Tony could be a good second option. Olave's already shown you he's kind of, we're trying to get Tony to where Olave is with the consistency that Olave has had in the past couple of weeks. And surprising, I was talking to the Beard about this, man. Andy Dalton's playing pretty decent, and the Saints have been playing from behind a lot. He's one of the better third down quarterbacks. Olave's got sure hands, man. He seems to be the number one target over there right now. So, I mean, I think you can go Tony, but I like Olave as well.
Yeah, I do also like Olave. He is
Jamal
one of my
Williams
starting wide receivers.
Sneaky, man.
It's very sneaky.
Detroit Lions are like ranked number 11, I believe, in the NFL in rushing right now. It's really strange because Swift has been banged up all year, and Jamal Williams, I think he only has one 100-yard game on the year. But the Giants, if the Giants defense struggles anywhere, it's against the run. That is the biggest weakness in this New York Giants defense. But I don't know. In a game like today, there is some tough weather here too. We got 15 miles per hour winds in New York for this game. It's going to be cold, like in the 30s. Maybe that is more of a reason to kind of consider Jamal Williams, but I still stick to my word about Tony and Olave.
This might be one of the toughest questions so far. Who do I flex? Terry McLaurin, Dameon Pierce, or Kenyon Drake?
Yeah, Kenyon Drake I would leave to the side on this one because he's boom or bust this week. We don't know what's going on with Gus Edwards. And, the Baltimore Ravens are very running back by committee when everyone is healthy over there. It's Gus, it's Kenyon Drake. There's one more person that gets touches over there, too. I can't remember who it is. I think Dameon Pierce is probably the safest bet, but Terry McLaurin, man, since y'all literally like asking questions about a lot of players that I've like wanted to talk about in some of these sections. But excuse me. Let me just scroll down here to something I had about Terry McLaurin. So the thing is with Terry McLaurin, right? Since Taylor Heineke has came in the lineup, his targets has boosted up by 3 targets per game. With 6 games with Carson Wentz, he was only averaging 6 targets a game. He's averaging 9 targets a game now with Taylor Heineke in the lineup, and he's also getting almost 32% of the target share. He's averaging 92.5 receiving yards per game. So I think Terry's in a position where he could have a big game, but if Washington leads, that's going to be the problem right there. If Washington is winning in this game, it's going to ruin you for Terry McLaurin and for Dameon Pierce because the Texans are going to have to throw the ball to get back in the game. So this is really tough. It actually is tougher than I thought it would be, but I think Dameon Pierce, safest bet. Terry McLaurin, though, I do have him in my sleeper section this week, man. I think he could have a big game. You want to see the Texans compete in this game, and Terry McLaurin will probably be the front runner as far as these 3 go.
Yeah, I think definitely Terry McLaurin, but Kenyon Drake is definitely very appealing to me. With Gus Edwards being probably limited if he does play, Washington's defense has played really well, but Dameon Pierce is top 5 running back in the National Football League right now. And then, Awthentik mentioned Terry McLaurin. This one's super tough for me. I think I would have to go. The only thing is I would lean towards running back just because I want to have the most touches possible. So for me, it would be if you think Washington's going to be out in front in that game throughout the entire game, then you have to go Kenyon Drake. If you think that game is going to be very close, then you go with Dameon Pierce. That would be my suggestion between those guys. Big shout out.
He's coming off 2 big games before that bye. I think he 22 in PPR, 16 in PPR, I believe it was, and I had him on the bench for one of those. But when I look at these 3 names, I think the important thing to look at is who is the player likely to have a low output? And that's how I think you should rule this out. And to me, of these three names, it's got to be between Kenyon Drake and Terry McLaurin. The Texans got to come into this game thinking, hey, we got to stop Terry McLaurin. We got to. So that's why I think Dameon Pierce got maybe kind of rises up a little bit, possibly.
Big shout out to Lax04 for the $4.99 super chat. Says James Robinson, Cordero Patterson, Allen Robinson, or Darius Slayton. I can flex too. Your thoughts? Tough. I'm going Slayton and Patterson.
Ooh, I'm definitely not going Slayton. You don't know what you're going to get out of Slayton, man. Slayton did have that big game last week, but it's no telling with him, man. Are the Giants going to have one of these games where they just completely rely on the run, you know? I mean, we're talking 17 total pass attempts last week. That to me, that doesn't yield a high output for Darius Slayton unless you could get the big play over the top and possibly a touchdown. James Robinson. Is James Robinson starting over there now with what's his name, hurt? Or I know James Robinson was dealing with his own injury as well.
Yeah, James Robinson and Michael Carter basically are going 50-50 to a certain extent in New York. James Robinson did have a good game last time they played. It's just that New England, New York Jet game scare me a little bit.
I go with the running backs. I go with both running backs, Cordero Patterson and James Robinson. The Chicago Bears, though, I forget it. Their rush defense is pretty good, right? It's their pass defense that's struggling, I believe.
No, Chicago's rush defense is pretty bad. Yeah,
it's the rush defense is bad. The pass defense is. So yeah, there you go, man. Cordero Patterson, James Robinson. Allen Robinson, definitely not. The Rams been struggling, man, and it seems like if they got a target on their offense, it's gonna be Tyler Higbee this week. And then also, no Cooper Kupp. I know that makes you go, oh, maybe Allen Robinson could have a big game. It's a possibility, but I think his chances of having a very mediocre average game is probably more than likely.
All right, we got a couple more quick questions. James Jones, flex one, Josh Jacobs, Dameon Pierce, Keenan Allen, or Gabe Davis?
Oh, Gabe Davis is in a great spot this week, man. I think I'd go Josh Jacobs. I'm
a toss-up between Josh Jacobs and Gabe Davis. The only thing is about Josh Jacobs, he's getting crazy, insane volume, but that Denver Broncos defense is really good.
And this is the crazy part about Josh Jacobs. Like, he's in the top 10 as far as rushing yards go, but he's one of the running backs that has the lower amount of carries. Out of all the running backs that are in the top 10, he's got the lower amount of carries. Remember, coming into the year, they were kind of like previewing him in the preseason as if they were going to trade him. This dude was getting like carries into the third quarter in the first week of preseason. So Josh Jacobs definitely been a surprise this year, man. He's been one of my surprise players. I think I'd go Josh Jacobs or possibly Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is going to be running with extra emphasis this week. You can't forget the fumble last week within the 10-yard line, man. That if he doesn't fumble, that changes the whole landscape of that game. I think he's going to come back with a good bounce back game this week. So I'd go Josh Jacobs or Dameon Pierce.
Pete the Skeet. David Montgomery or Brian Robinson. I understand the Texans are a really bad run defense. Brian Robinson, he might end up with a huge game, but David Montgomery is going to be there's no Khalil Herbert this week. So I think David Montgomery has a big game this week. I'm leaning towards David Montgomery in that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Beige Boy says Jamal Williams or Curtis Samuel.
That's
tough.
That is difficult. Weather, I'd go Jamal Williams.
That's so tough. I think I'm going to go Jamal Williams too. That's super, super tough. And this next one is just for fun. If you're on Twitter, you know. If you know, you know. Big shout out to Sebastian for $1.99 super chat. Treylon Burks or Michael Thomas for flex. I'm going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yo, that's hilarious. This is about a conversation I was having on Twitter with somebody in one of entertainers' threads and whatnot. And they listed, for one, they were saying that Amon-Ra St. Brown is not a top 32 wide receiver in the league. And I was like, okay, well, if you can prove me wrong, prove me wrong. I didn't count up all the 32 wide receivers. So he was like making a list of the top 32 wide receivers. And this man had Michael Thomas and Treylon Burks in the top 32. I was just like, all right, this conversation's over.
Big shout out to James Funk. Christian Watson has 5 touchdowns in his last 2 games and now leads all rookies in touchdowns.
The crazy part about that is he's done it on like 8 receptions. It's so crazy. This dude's like a touchdown maniac. All he does is catch touchdowns, man.
I had to pull out a receipt after the Watson stuff and from the day of the draft where when they drafted Christian Watson, I put up a tweet that said that's a great, great pick for the Green Bay Packers. So.
He was not on my radar. When I was like doing a little bit of scouting on wide receivers coming out. He wasn't on my radar, man. But that dude, yeah, you can see it, man. When he gets on the field, it seems to be that the hands might be the one thing. Another week where he got the ball lost in the lights, man. Could have had another big 40-yard play, but he'd lose the ball in the lights. He's the kind of guy that I think
he's a little raw still.
He's a little bit raw, but I think more what I was leaning towards is like when he runs the fly route, he knows that it's supposed to be a decoy route. I see David Sills do this a lot in the Giants offense, right? He'll run the fly, and he knows that Daniel Jones is not throwing in the ball, so he doesn't look back. He's just really looking to see if one of his wide receivers makes a catch, and then he can block down the field. I think Christian Watson is kind of suffering from that a little bit too. Like, he runs the fly. You see the moment of, like, him just kind of relax and then be like, oh, damn, the ball's in here. I got to go get to this. He's lost the ball now. Two straight weeks he could have had a bigger play. I mean, he was I think he had 4 targets in that game where he had 3 touchdowns. It would have been another big 40-yard chunk, man. You know, so it's like, just got to get – I think these are just a little bit of rookie little kind of woes you got to kind of just iron out a little bit here. But he's a fantastic receiver, man. I love the build, the catch radius, man. This kid, lengthy kid. He's got the speed. He's got it all. He's confident out there, man. I'm loving it.
Yeah, sub 4.40 at the combine. Ooh. And he's just – the height, too, is crazy. So,
yeah,
all right, we got 2 more questions. Excuse me. 2 more questions before we get into –
you need a little water over there, man.
Yeah, I know. I crushed my OJ already. So we're going to get to a couple more questions before we get you guys to our starts, sits, and sleeps.
What is that? A citric acid, man. You can't be drinking that OJ, brother. It's not good for the vocal cords. You know what I'm saying? You need an apple, some warm water.
Apple and warm water.
Apple. Get rid of all the this is crazy for my studio engineers out there real quickly. When you bring a singer in and she's, you know, clicking and popping with her mouth sounds and all that stuff, good apple gets rid of all of that stuff.
Listen, not only are you getting fantasy football advice, you're getting vocal advice here.
You know what it is, man. And my podcasters out there, man. You want to come up here, you want to sound like Awthentik on the mic, you know what I'm saying? You got
put that apple in the starting lineup, ladies and gentlemen, okay?
Put that apple in the starting lineup. Put the oranges on the bench, all right? Sit them.
All right, need 2 running backs, McKinnon, Pollard, Foreman, Montgomery. I'm going Pollard and Montgomery.
Yeah, I like Foreman as well, too. But, yeah, I think I'm going. Montgomery's just in a great spot. No Khalil Herbert, man. And Tony Pollard, they're talking that Zeke Elliott is supposed to be back this week. But Tony Pollard been that guy, man. And even if Zeke is in the lineup, Tony Pollard seems to get the big play every now and again anyway.
And shout out to another Facebook viewer. Shout out. Facebook's holding it down today, ladies and gentlemen. Half-point PPR, man. Chris Olave or Kadarius Toney. Also, Kamara or Dameon Pierce. Kamara's been struggling in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, man. But the first one, we talked about that one already. Olave has been very consistent already. I think Olave is where Kadarius Toney is trying to get. But the upside for Kadarius Toney this week is so high with all those wide receivers missing in the Kansas City Chiefs locker room and whatnot, man. And Mecole Hardman seemed to be a guy. Mecole Hardman was on the up and up, man, before he got hurt. I had him in my lineup all year. I've had Kadarius Toney on my bench since the draft, right? And I kept him throughout all of this. I mean, all the problems that were going on in New York. Then he gets traded. I was like, man, this might be a vibe, man. So I kept him, put him in the lineup for the first time last week. I think if I'm making a decision on it, I don't have Olave on my team. I do have Kadarius Toney in the lineup this week. I think I'm going Kadarius Toney, man. The upside is just crazy. And Patrick Mahomes in primetime games is a straight-up dog. Yeah. So I like the chances for Kadarius Toney. Alvin Kamara and Dameon Pierce, kind of a bit of a coin flip here. I think I'd go Dameon Pierce, man. I know Washington's defense has been stepping up and playing well. I just see Dameon Pierce having a bounce-back game, and it's like, where else is the Texans going to get some output for that offense? It'll probably be a lot of Dameon Pierce and a good chunk of Nico Collins.
Big shout-out to SHU Carter. This is a great question before we roll into our starts, sits, and sleeps. Is it too late to get into fantasy football? How does one start? So with fantasy football, you're going to have a couple of different formats. You have season-long format, which obviously starts in the beginning of the season. So that's too late to join a league like that. But the good thing is there's other options such as DraftKings, FanDuel, where it's a weekly or better known as daily fantasy sports, which is DFS. So you can get into DraftKings and FanDuel, and you can set up a new lineup every week. You can set up a new lineup for 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games, just one game. So it's never too late to get into it. And I think this is a great place for somebody, who's just getting into fantasy football, because we kind of approach things to at a level that is, easily understandable for everybody, no matter your level of skill or playing fantasy football. So don't ever hesitate to reach out to us either here on YouTube or on Twitter. We'd be more than happy to help guide you through some of that fantasy stuff. And as we get later into the season, we'll talk a little bit more about those sort of daily fantasy questions, because eventually fantasy runs out for, the regular season. But during the playoffs, it's daily fantasy football. It's huge because that's all
Now,
there
let me
really
ask you
is.
something about DraftKings and FanDuel. They do free lineups?
You can play free ones. So if you want to just kind of like start and learn how it works, like the scoring and with the salary and stuff like that, you can do free stuff.
So I would start like this, because I'm a person who is very late to fantasy football. I probably got into fantasy football in like 2019, maybe 2018, 2019, something like that. I wouldn't start with doing the daily fantasy. And it's just my opinion because I feel like it can get confusing. Wait till next season, right? And dive into somebody's league early on in the year or whatever, right? And start to draft. The beautiful thing about fantasy football is it's going to teach you a lot about what's going on around the league, because the way that a lot of these apps are set up, both my leagues are in the ESPN app, right? And they do top rankings every week. So it kind of forces you to look at what other players around the league are actually excelling that are, either outside of your team or outside of your division. I would start there. But fantasy football, there's nothing difficult about it. It's just go out there and just try it, Try your hand. You know about some good players in this league, I'm sure, and you know about good players on your team. You can always just start from there. My first 2 years in fantasy, my team was just full of New York Giants. Like, straight up, I'm just drafting everyone who I thought on the New York Giants was going to do well. And obviously, those years started off extremely slow. But yeah, you can dive in. Don't be intimidated by fantasy football. I think the betting and DraftKings and things like that can be a little bit intimidating. But fantasy football, even start a league, with some people that you might think are novice, to fantasy football as well, and invite some people to pull up. I'll join your league next year if you want, man. Shoot me a mention on Twitter, and I'll pull up and join, man. Because just having different teams, you get to see what a different lineup can be like. I'm all about the stack. So when I drafted this year, I made sure I was like, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get a great wide receiver to start, and I'm going to pair him with his quarterback. I got Stephon Diggs in the first round, paired him with Josh Allen. I think I got Josh Allen in either the second. I think I got Josh Allen maybe in the third. I think I got a running back in the second. But yeah, man, don't feel free to definitely reach out to us, man. We can definitely help you out with that. And just take the plunge, man. Join. Fantasy football is amazing. I love it. The Parlay is my favorite show because we get to just wake up on some laid-back vibes, just set the lineups, and you're almost just taking an educated guess trying to put the best players in your lineup. That's really all it is.
Yeah, and most importantly, like what Awthentik said, is like it's fun. I mean, there is a lot of fun, and it makes watching football on Sundays completely different.
Oh man, Red Zone is on fire when you're in a fantasy league, bro. I'm running around the studio just cheering for Saints players or a Chiefs player. It just makes it that much better, man.
Big shout out to Simon Coleman for the $5 super chat. Says a couple fantasy questions. DeAndre Swift or Nick Chubb? We'll do them one at a time, really fast. We'll go through it. DeAndre Swift or Nick Chubb?
Nick Chubb. DeAndre Swift came out today. I tweeted it out just yesterday. He came out a couple days ago, actually, and he said he's still dealing with some things with the injuries. The volume that he's gotten since he's returned has been virtually nothing. So definitely Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb's a guy in that offense. Yeah,
I'm going to go Nick Chubb also, as much as I love DeAndre Swift. Justin Fields or Kyler Murray? That's easy for me, Justin Fields.
Yep, Fields for me on that one.
Pick 3, Terry McLaurin, Debo, Chris Olave, A.J. Brown, Drake London. Whew, that is a lot of firepower
A.J. Brown's dealing with the ankle. Don't forget about that. Debo Samuel has not been the player he was last year as far as fantasy football goes. I think I'm going to go Scary Terry, Chris Olave, and I got Drake London on my bench, so I can't say Drake London, even though he'll probably have a decent game today. I'll go A.J. Brown.
I think Drake London's in your starting lineup, actually. Just
is he?
You know that. Yeah. I'm going to go Scary Terry, Chris Olave, and A.J. Brown.
It's crazy. On my fantasy team, I'm struggling at the wide receiver position. That is not – and I drafted like 8 wide. They were like, you sure you want another wide receiver? I'm like, yeah, give me another one. I'm always about the wide receivers because I played wide receiver, but I'm struggling, man. George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, man, struggle mode right now.
The chat is on fire today, guys. We're on fire. Renee Guzman. Shout out, Renee. Appreciate you, Renee.
Big shout out to Renee. What's up, fam?
Darius Slayton or Allen Robinson?
That's tough. I think I go Darius Slayton.
I'm going to go Darius Slayton as
well. But Allen Robinson might get the volume.
No Cooper Kupp.
That's the thing.
You got to wait till sleepers. I'm going to give you who's really going to give the volume in that.
Tyler Higbee?
No. Going back to one of my guys who I loved as a rookie.
Van? Ooh, okay.
Ooh, Van the Man.
Darius Slayton or Allen Robinson? Dog, the Giants might throw the ball 12 times. I don't want to steer you the wrong way, Renee. I'm going Allen Robinson, man. I'm going Allen Robinson. Got to go with the Phillies,
man. That's a tough one, though.
Yeah, tough.
Juan Pena Jr., wide receiver 1 and 2. I got Rondell Moore, Adam Thielen, Tyler Boyd, DeAndre Carter, and Mike Williams. Sheesh. All right. I love Mike Williams. He's returning from injury. I'm going to have to take Mike Williams because I am in a predicament where he was in my IR slot, and I had to put him in the starting lineup against this guy right here, Awthentik. So I'm going to go Mike Williams and Tyler Boyd.
I like that. I'll go Mike Williams and Adam Thielen, though, man. Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys, the last matchup was a high-scoring affair. A lot of passing. I don't know if you remember that was when CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson both had those crazy, crazy catches. I'm going Thielen because I think that the focus will be on Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is going absolutely crazy.
Big shout out to Nick the Wig for the $4.99 super chat. Says Mariota or Prescott. I'm gonna go Mariota.
That's because you hate Dak. I'm going Dak Prescott all day. All day Dak. I'm going Dak Prescott. Oh, you saw CeeDee Lamb last week, man. Put up 150 yards, career high. You think Dak Prescott about to come out here and do a Marcus Mariota version of that? No way. No way.
Olave, pick one. Olave, Boyd, Singletary, or Devonta Smith.
Singletary.
Olave. Ooh,
I like that too, though. I like that. I want to see some on Marcus Mariota before you move on from that. I want to see his highest output of the year. 24. Nah, dog. He's coming off 7 and 17. Nah, dog. It's going to be a no for me, dog.
All right, flex. Gibson, Jamal Williams, or James Conner? I'm going Gibson.
Yeah. No, I'm going James Conner. James Conner.
Shout out to Stephen White, who is starting the Beard's mustache in his fantasy lineup today.
Gangster.
I mean, it's
not to be denied.
We're getting some. We got. Some
you got to gel that thing up one day for one of these shows, man. Just have it.
Awthentik and the stash, says Stephen White. All right,
Awthentik and the stash. We talked about that one time. If you were to cut the beard, oh man, we'd totally have to change the name.
Big shout out to Simon for the $2 super chat. Says, got to flex one. DeAndre Swift, Thielen, Wandell, or Claypool. Ooh, that's tough.
Swift, Thielen, Wandell. Michael Thielen.
I think I'm going to go Thielen. I'm itching to play DeAndre Swift, though, but I'm going to go Thielen.
On that 32 list that Sebastian was making fun of earlier, he had Thielen over Amon-Ra St. Brown as well. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, I need to see that whole list.
Yeah, I'll tag you.
Dak or Lamar? I'm going Lamar.
This one's tough. This one is tough. Panthers, yeah, Lamar's got a good matchup. Yeah, I'll go Lamar Jackson. Jackson have a day, though.
Shout out to Renee for the $5 super chat. I need two. Brian Robinson, Michael Carter, Najee Harris. This is a little difficult, but I'm gonna go B-Rob and Michael Carter.
This ain't a little tough. This is extremely tough. Divisional matchup. I'm gonna go with Najee Harris and Brian Robinson.
All right, here we go. Shout out to everybody watching in the chat. We got 58 people watching. We're 39 minutes in. This has been an interesting beginning to the show.
Hey,
Ray
look,
Gamer.
Keep them questions coming on the parlay, bro. This is the vibe that I like right here. These rapid fire questions like this is fire, y'all. We definitely appreciate it, man. And to everybody who sent in donations, man, that's awesome. We appreciate y'all supporting the channel, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Ray Gamer. Start 2 in a standard league. Shout out to Awthentik. This is a standard league. I love them
standard leagues. I'm never doing PPR ever again. Book it.
Patterson versus Bears. Tony versus Chargers. Boyd versus Steelers. Debo versus Cardinals. I'm having extreme difficulty with this decision. You can only start 2. This is a standard league.
Yeah. Debo,
I think
Tyler
I go
Boyd, Tony, Patterson. I'm going Tony and Patterson.
I think that's where I'm going to go too. I mean, I think about it, Patterson's the only running back out of everybody in here, which I always lean towards in a standard league. So I
talked
think
about the Bears defense, bro. That you said the rush defense is awful. It's more reason to go Patterson, definitely.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go Patterson and Tony, just because I feel like Tony probably has the best shot at a touchdown.
If Tony gets a touchdown today, Giants fans, I'm making a video tonight. I've been hanging on to some content here. I got a couple little clips I want to talk about for sure, man. I'm gonna definitely unload the clip if Kadarius Toney scores a touchdown today. I'm gonna have a serious problem with that.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna also like it because he's in my lineup.
There you go. Roman says Jacoby Myers or George Pickens. Look, we slept on Pickens last week, and he had a good game. I'm gonna go Pickens.
Like that offense with the Pittsburgh Steelers is just so unpredictable, but I'd go Pickens as well.
Shout out to Mike K. Says start 2, Ayuk, Allen Robinson, Mooney, and Curtis Samuel. Ayuk and Mooney for me.
Damn, that's tough, man. I'm going to go Curtis Samuel, and I'll go Brandon Ayuk.
Big shout out to Ray Gamer. Welcome to the family, my friend.
Hey,
glad you could have some fun, get your question answered, and enjoy. Don't worry, it's going to be a wild ride here. Welcome to the family. Appreciate you joining us.
Facts.
All right. We have ran through all the questions. Don't forget, keep those questions going throughout the show. We'll do our best to answer each and every single one of them. We're going to fly through our stardom, situm, and sleeper sections before we get to rapid fire picks and then answer any more questions we have throughout the show. Up first, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you our must starts, our top picks for the quarterback position in week 11 in the NFL. All right, Awthentik, I'm going to let you start this one off with a little bit of that. That's a nice beat here, too.
Yeah, this might make an album right here. I already got big bars for this one. I'm like, sheesh. But
what's your top quarterback?
You're quarterbacking this rest of this show, and I just want to let you know we're running the 2-minute drill here. We're at 11:45.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna try to get people up out of here by about what 12. We talked to 12:30, the absolute latest here, Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna let you quarterback this one. I'm gonna fly through these quarterbacks for you one time. All right, so for starters, man, y'all already know I'm a weekly Josh Allen in my lineup kind of guy. I don't care if he leads the league in interceptions. Got the second most passing touchdowns with 20. He needs a bounce-back game. I see a lot of Giants fans saying, oh, look at Josh Allen missing Brian Dable. You know, he wouldn't be throwing interceptions if Brian Dable was over there. I don't agree with that. Josh Allen is a perennial quarterback in this league. Definitely going with Patrick Mahomes. And Josh Allen, I think, will fall in my number 2 spot, actually. Patrick Mahomes is going to be in that number 1 spot. People ain't even talking about Patrick Mahomes. You know why? When you great like Patrick Mahomes, right? And I'm a great recording engineer, okay? And a lot of people like to overlook that sometimes, right? But when you're great, people expect greatness out of you. And when they don't hear about greatness, they just act like, it's just, you're not doing your job. Patrick Mahomes right now is balling out, man. 25 touchdowns. That leads the NFL. 7 interceptions for a guy who's throwing the ball sometimes 68 times in a week, right? I don't know if I'm tripping or not, but why is he not on everybody's radar right now as the guy? 326 yards per game right now. Dude is 64 yards away from 3K already. He's coming off a 4-touchdown game in week 10. And then to round this off, in the 3rd spot, I got Justin Fields against those Falcons. I calculated these numbers myself. This how the Beard be doing. I be seeing him with the pen and paper, calculating the numbers himself, all right? Justin Fields, man. There it is right there, looking like a school assignment one time on him. Fields got 11 total touchdowns in his last 3 games, man. Come on, dog. He's accounted for 826 yards in the last 3 outings, man. Justin Fields, you got to plug him in the lineup, man. He's going to round out my top 3 this week as far as top quarterback fantasy performers.
Obviously, all those guys, top-tier guys, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I'm also going to ride with Justin Fields. He's averaging the last 2 games 44.55 fantasy points. Sheesh. I mean, that's absolutely insane. Atlanta's run defense, they give up 142 yards per game on the ground. I expect Justin Fields to have another huge game. I'm going to go out there and say he gets 30-plus fantasy points in this game. Also, I'm riding with my guy, Lamar Jackson. I think Mark Andrews is going to be back which is going to be huge for Lamar Jackson to get Mark Andrews
Mark
back.
Andrews, he's active, 100%. I just saw Schefter talking about it. Yep.
All right, so Mark Andrews is back. I love the matchup, obviously going against the Carolina Panthers. They're allowing 139 rushing yards per game, so I think Lamar Jackson gets some more yards on the ground. Last 3 games, Lamar Jackson, 0 interceptions, which is big for Lamar Jackson. And he's had at least 40 rushing yards on the ground those last 3 weeks. So I think he's going to have a early season Lamar Jackson game this week. And to round out my top 3, I'm going to go back to Jalen Hurts. Before this season started, in July, I put out a question because I thought Jalen Hurts, with the addition of A.J. Brown and the, progression of him as a player, was going to be a top 5 fantasy football quarterback. Right now, he is the 3rd best fantasy quarterback in the National Football League. And I think he's going to have a bounce-back game, even though he didn't have necessarily a bad game against the Washington Commanders. But I think he wants to prove something, not just him, but that team as a whole. And when the Eagles are favored with an implied team total of at least 26 points, Jalen Hurts averages 26.8 fantasy points and 307 total yards. So I love Jalen Hurts to have a big game this week as well. So those are our top quarterbacks this week, 11. Now we are going to move on to our top running backs in fantasy PPR week 11. All right, who's running the rock on Team Awthentik this week?
I mean, Team Awthentik is Team Big Blue. You already know Saquon Barkley right at the top of that list. Barkley averaging 25 touches a game, 125 total yards, leads the NFL in rushing yards. Outside of that Derrick Henry performance last night, he's got an extra game on my man Saquon Barkley one time. He's coming off 35 carries for 152 yards last week versus the Texans. And Justin Fields went crazy against the Lions last week. I know he's a quarterback, but I'm looking for Saquon to lead the New York Giants to a victory today. I also like Joe Mixon going up against those Steelers, man. And this is the first time I've put Joe Mixon in my running back category because, man, he's coming off that big 5-touchdown game versus the Panthers, 22 attempts for 153 yards. Man, that 150 mark was hit by a lot of running backs this past week. And this is the second matchup against the Steelers this season. Now, the first matchup, he didn't have that many yards. He only had 82 yards, but he had 27 attempts, and he had 9 targets in the passing game. So off just sheer volume, I'm going with Joe Mixon to fall in the number 2 spot. And then I also like Jonathan Taylor, man, versus the Eagles last week. 22 carries for 147 yards and the touchdown versus the Raiders in his first game back as, being very healthy. Talked about the 66-yarder that he had, man. And the Eagles, man, they went out there and they signed a couple of D tackles because they're having problems stopping the run. That's the one weakness that the Philadelphia Eagles defense has. They went out there and got Ndamukong Suh, and they also got Linval Joseph, former New York Giants. He was drafted by the Giants as well, so they're looking to find a way. And the Commanders, man, committed to the run, so that seems to be what's going to be the game plan for the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Eagles. And Jonathan Taylor will round out my top 3 as far as the running backs go.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on 2 of those guys. Obviously, Saquon Barkley is a must-play, not just in season-long fantasy, but in DraftKings and FanDuel. He's a home run, I think, in this game. He's averaging 21.3 fantasy points on the year. Detroit allows 160.9 yards rushing on the ground. So definitely Saquon Barkley. I'm also going to agree with you on Jonathan Taylor. He was a number 1 pick for a reason. I think that Jeff Saturday, as the new coach, is looking forward to just giving Jonathan Taylor the ball. I think that's a smart thing to do. Obviously, the Eagles' run defense, which you touched on, has been a little spotty. And, he had 22 touches last week, 27.3 fantasy points. So I definitely like Jonathan Taylor. My guy out. I love Joe Mixon, by the way, also. But my guy's going to be Dalvin Cook. That Dallas run defense has been a little sketchy as of late. They're giving up 143 yards per a game on the ground. Over the last 3 games, Dalvin Cook has averaged 22.76 fantasy points. So I'm going with Dalvin Cook to round out my top 3 running backs. So let's go ahead and go to the position that Awthentik
Shout out to Gregory one time. You could tell he's
he
a
puts
Dallas
his
Cowboys
best.
fan.
Yeah, oh yeah. He had Dak in his quarterback top 3, and then he put in not only just Pollard but Zeke too.
And Zeke, I like that, man. I like that. That's gangster right there, brother.
So we're gonna move on to our top wide receivers. I'm expecting Gregory to have CeeDee Lamb in there. Let's see who Awthentik and the Beard have for our top 3. right, Authentic. Who's playing wide receiver X, Y, and Z 1, 2, and 3 for Team Authentic this week?
All right, man. Well, first of all, shout out to the homie Gregory because we going to be in agreement on this one. I got CeeDee Lamb falling in the number 3 spot this week, man, versus the Vikings. CeeDee Lamb has the second best target share of any wide receiver in the NFL right now, 32.1. He's coming off that career high, 150 yards versus the Packers. He had 15 targets, man, in that game, 11 receptions, first 100-yard game of the year. Last time he played the Vikings, 6 receptions for 112 yards, so I think this is a smash matchup for CeeDee Lamb one time. Second, I'm going to have Stephon Diggs versus the Browns, man, targeted a season high last week 16 times. He had 12 receptions for 128 yards. He's finding ways to remain in that top 5, top 10 wide receiver without even scoring a touchdown. He hasn't scored a touchdown for 2 consecutive weeks. He's had at least 90 receiving yards in 7 of 9 games this year. He's going up against Denzel Ward for the most part here, man, so that's going to present a few problems for him, but Diggs is one of the best in the league, man, so I like Stephon Diggs to round out the top 3. Plus, I'm going to need it in this matchup versus the Beard one time. And, man, I got a whole paragraph about my man, Justin Jefferson, so Gregory pumped the brakes one time here. I got CeeDee Lamb at number 3, but I definitely do got Justin Jefferson at number 1. He was dealing with that toe injury, man, but he's good to go, it seems. First in the NFL on red zone targets right now. Big game last week against the Buffalo Bills, man. 10 receptions on 16 targets, 193 yards, and 1 touchdown. I had a rant on Thursday about Justin Jefferson, man, and there's a lot of statistics to run through on this one, man. The one game, okay, so he has at least 100 yards in 5 of his last 6 games. The one game that he didn't have 100, he had 98. So, I mean, come on here. In his last 6 games, he's catching 72.5% of his targets. Before last week, he went 6 straight games without a touchdown, though. So, this is the kind of guy who's getting his team in the red zone but not scoring the touchdowns. He's got over 145 yards in half of his games, pretty much. Most 100-yard games in his first 3 seasons in NFL history. He just broke that OBJ record last week. Justin Jefferson just needs 88 yards to pass Randy Moss for the most career receiving yards in NFL history. I said what I said in his first 3 seasons, and he's on pace to go over 2,000 yards, which would be the highest mark by any wide receiver ever. So I got Justin Jefferson at number 1 this week, and probably for the rest of the year. I'm going to keep it funky with you.
That's a 20-piece nugget, ladies and gentlemen, with sweet and sour, barbecue, and honey mustard. Shout out to Authentic for the 20-piece nugget. I got one guy in there that's the same as you, and that's Stephon Diggs. Diggs is averaging 11.3 targets over the last 3 games. If you're playing fantasy football, you got to love volume. I love the volume, 11.3 targets over the last 3 games for Stephon Diggs. And, of course, he's averaging 25.6 fantasy points per game. He is the number 2 wide receiver this season in fantasy points in PPR, only behind Tyreek Hill. I also really like Terry McLaurin. I think Terry McLaurin has a surprisingly big game for him this week. He's fairly cheap in DraftKings, so he's a guy that I think you'll see a lot of lineups built around Terry McLaurin. No Derek Stingley in the secondary for the Texans, so that's definitely going to open things up for McLaurin. He's averaging 18 fantasy points per game and 9 targets a game over the last 4 games. My number 3 guy is going to be T. Higgins. Pittsburgh has given up the 6th most passing yards in the National Football League. They have also allowed the 2nd most passing touchdowns in the National Football League. So that Pittsburgh pass defense is pretty bad. I'm looking forward to seeing Joe Burrow attack that. With no Jamar Chase, I think T. Higgins steps up and has 100-plus yards in this game and at least 1 touchdown. And I'm going to throw you a tight end we talked about earlier in the show. Cole Kmet, shout out Notre Dame University. He has had 5 touchdowns over his last 3 games. Cole Kmet, 5 touchdowns over his last 3 games. So he's a tight end.
And he had only 1 before that. Wow, he's going off right now.
Yeah, so it's interesting.
No Gus Edwards, for those of y'all that were questioning that. And I want y'all to spam the chat on this one for me because I got a decision to make here. Drake London or Kenyon Drake? Which Drake you going with one time? Let me know which one y'all think about that because I'm leaning towards Kenyon Drake, but let me know what y'all think about that one.
I can't answer that question because I am the opponent of Authentic. So that rounds out our top 3. We're going to go into our sit-em section. We're going to give you guys some people that will be riding the bench for Coach Beard and Coach Authentic in Week 11. All right, here we go. These people will be riding the bench for the Beard. Kyler Murray. Okay, listen, you know I love my quarterbacks that have wheels. Kyler Murray can get you yards on the ground, but he is hurt. That injury, that hamstring is gonna be lingering, I think, for a while the rest of the season as far as running the ball. If he does play, we still don't know if he's going to be 100% in play. He is I believe, a late game. If not, that might be the Monday night game in Mexico. So to me, it's like you have to bench him because you don't want to have him in your lineup and then come Monday, he's on the bench. So literally put him on the bench. No Kyler Murray for me this week. No Zeke. I think Zeke's playing this week.
Yo, Zeke be in your sit-em section every week. He healthy. This man hates the rivalry between the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys is legit. It's kind of like the Eagles and the Giants rivalry.
Listen, I give Cowboys guys their flowers. You know, like I had to tell somebody yesterday on Twitter that Dak doesn't suck. Okay.
Well, that's not giving flowers, bro. If you say, hey, Awthentik is not a shitty engineer, that's not giving me flowers, man.
Well, for a Commanders fan, you know. But listen, Zeke, you got to sit Zeke. I know he's back. He's still not going to be 100%. Tony Pollard is a clear-cut number one. Tony Pollard is a clear-cut number one. Put Zeke on your bench. And at wide receiver position, DJ Moore. Shout out DJ Moore, University of Maryland alum. But listen, Baker Mayfield's back at quarterback. I'm not a Baker hater, but the fact is that when Baker's playing quarterback, DJ Moore gets less than 60 yards all the time. So I'm going to bench DJ Moore. Who are you benching, Coach Awthentik?
I'm benching my man Michael Pittman versus the Eagles one time because I just think you got Jeff Saturday over there. Is he going to be slinging the rock around the field? Probably not. They're dealing with all kind of crazy issues at quarterback with Matt Reininger and little Sammy over there trying to make things work out, man. Michael Pittman hasn't scored over 12.3 PPR fantasy points in 4 straight damn weeks. Not the vibes. Michael Pittman, take a seat on that bench one time. Also, a lot of people were kind of, I'd say in limbo with this wide receiver here. I'm going all wide receivers, by the way, in my sit-em section. Joshua Palmer versus the Chiefs, man. He had that big game versus Atlanta in week 9, 8 receptions for 106 yards, but fell off last week versus the 49ers, man. Just 7.4 points. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams expected to play. I think Joshua Palmer takes a back seat. Go sit on that bench, buddy. And this one, I know I told a couple of y'all with some of these questions y'all had to start this guy, but he's going to be on my bench this week. It's going to be wide receiver Allen Robinson, man, versus the Saints. 3 straight weeks under 11 fantasy points. It's tempting with Cooper Kupp on IR right now, but Stafford coming off the injury and having a down year. Stafford's got the 4th most interceptions in the NFL with 8 right now. I'm putting Allen Robinson on that bench one time.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, those are the guys that you shouldn't start unless literally you have nobody else to start. But now we're going to give you a couple of people. Bears are the first team in 103-year history of the NFL to score more than 28 points in 3 straight games and lose them all.
That's crazy. That's a nugget right there. That's a chicken tender for Marjorie right there. Salute, yo.
An extended nugget.
That's a good one. Extended
shout out
nugget. It's a nugget with a little extra. Little boot on that thing.
The boot nugget. The boot nugget. Shout out to Marjorie for the Marge Bomb. We appreciate you as always. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to give you the people that have been taking a power nap, and it's time to wake them up off of the couch and let them know, hey, Jack, time to suit up. These are going to be our top sleepers in Week 11. Shout out to Stephen Weiss. Said that nugget had bone. All right, Awthentik. Who's waking up from a power nap for you in Week 11?
All right, man. So I like Kadarius Toney and Marquez Valdez-Scantling against the Chargers. No Juju Smith-Schuster. No Mecole Hardman. Yeah, it's a primetime game. You know, Patrick Mahomes about to go crazy. Who's he going to be throwing the ball to? Probably Kadarius Toney, probably MVS one time. I also like Antonio Gibson, man, at the Texans, man. No J.D. McKissick. Brian Robinson, really not a factor in the passing game. I think Antonio Gibson's going to find a way. Even if the rushing attempts is low, I think he'll find a way in the passing attack to be able to at least put up a good, I'd say, somewhere between 12 to 16 fantasy points this week. And I also like, and I never like this wide receiver. A lot of people like to call this guy a number 1. For me, he's not a number 1. I think he's just under that. I like Cortland Sutton going up against the Raiders this week. No Jerry Jeudy, no KJ Hamler, no Tim Patrick. And in games without Jerry Jeudy, Sutton's fantasy points double. We talked about that earlier. Shout out to the homie Fantasy Flock for giving me that little nugget right there. And I got a little, fourth one to just kind of throw in there one time. I think Terry McLaurin is a sleeper to be a top 3 wide receiver this week. The Beard had him in his top 3, but, he's a little biased over there. That's why you kind of see, Dak on the bench, Zeke on the bench, CeeDee Lamb not in his top 3. I don't get it.
Terry McLaurin
yeah, sign Terry McLaurin helmet back there. Yeah,
Spike don't care.
Spike definitely don't care about that. But Heineke, man, this is the thing. Carson Wentz, I like him. I think he has the better, skill set, bigger arm and all that. But Heineke understands the task at hand. You got a guy like Terry McLaurin out there, throw that man the ball, man. I talked about the targets, man. 6 targets with Carson Wentz in the lineup, 9 targets per game with Heineke in the lineup. And you got to think about this, too. Terry McLaurin is coming off of a major game, okay? 128 yards, 8 receptions on 11 targets. But this is the cherry on top of all that. He was going up against probably the best cornerback duo in the entire NFL with James Bradbury and Darius Slay. So we get a little bit of a, easier week here up against the Texans. I like Terry McLaurin to maybe crack that top 3, but definitely a sleeper this week for me.
Did you see the Darius Slay commentary video on Terry McLaurin that was making its rounds around Twitter?
I did not, no.
Oh, yeah, you should check that out. He said Terry McLaurin is top 10 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, I definitely would not deny that, man. I've always been talking about Terry McLaurin's route running capabilities, man. That dude is crispy, man. But you know what it is with Terry McLaurin? He needs, he's one of those wide receivers that kind of need to get smacked in the face one time to play better. When the game is on the line, when he's getting tested, I feel like he plays better.
Yeah, he just kind of brings it out in him. Like it's almost like that. Like you notice it.
It's like a boxer that need a good gotta get caught with something before he start really,
wake him up
Gervonta Davis vibes. Yeah,
I like that. That's an interesting take. I got a couple of the same guys. Obviously, Tony with the injuries. I think Tony's primed for a big primetime game. I also have Antonio Gibson with that matchup and the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. I think he's going to have a big one. Some of my other guys, Marcus Mariota is back in the sleeper section this week. He's going up against a Bears rush defense that is 30th in the National Football League. The Atlanta Falcons actually have the 3rd highest implied team total this week. So I like Mariota and Cordero Patterson in my sleeper section. Also, I'm going to give you a couple of guys. A guy I haven't talked about in a long time, but I always talked about when he was a rookie and, periodically, and that is Van the Man Jefferson. I think he's going to be the guy to shine in the absence of Cooper Kupp. I really like his ability, his versatility. So I think Van Jefferson is a guy to keep your eye out on. And a guy I've been waiting to talk about all year long, Trey McBride. Okay? Trey McBride was the number 1 tight end coming out of college last year, out of Colorado State University. He was drafted by the Arizona Cardinals, who have Zach Ertz, one of the best tight ends in National Football League. He is getting a little bit older, though. He's out. He's hurt. I believe he's on IR, most likely done for the year. So Trey McBride is going to be a guy to keep your eye out on in that Arizona offense at the tight end position. And last but not least, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, when there's no Corey Davis in the lineup for the New York Jets, he's averaging 17.7 fantasy points, 104 yards, and 8 targets. In the last matchup, Jets versus the Patriots, Garrett Wilson went for 115 yards in that game. So definitely keep your eye out on Garrett Wilson.
Garrett, I was looking at his game logs just yesterday, man. He's had some big games, man.
Yeah.
He's definitely had some big games, man. 2 100-yard games on the year. He had last game against Buffalo, he had 92 yards on 8 receptions too, man. So I think Garrett Wilson's going to, make a name for himself. By the time we get to next season, he'll be on people's radar. Right now, he's not really on a lot of people's radar outside of fantasy football like that.
But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up all of our sleepers, sit-ems, and stardoms. It is now time for everybody's favorite portion. It's rapid fire. Authentic and I this is about to be, this is like one of those extendo clips you see like in these YouTube videos that it's just like,
oh yeah, this is Hot Shots Part 2 right here. We about to go crazy.
We're going rapid fire, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to pick every single game in the National Football Week, Week 11, and then we'll answer any last-minute questions that arise in the chat. So if you have any questions, get those ready for as soon as we finish rapid fire. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to it. Up first is going to be Oh, this is the game we just I have a lot of faith in. The Chicago Bears. They are 3-7. They're headed to Hotlanta. The Falcons are 4-6. The Falcons are favored by 2.5. Over under is 48.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to the graphics department. Authentic, where are we going with this one?
I think I'm gonna take the Bears in this one, man. Justin Fields, that nugget that Marjorie just dropped, that chicken tender, that boot nugget right there. I mean, that's crazy that you got 3 losses like that with that kind of an output. Falcons favored by 2.5. I tell you what, I'm gonna take the under. I think that the Falcons offense is gonna kind of sputter a little bit in this game. And I'd look for the Bears to kind of control this thing with running behind Justin Fields and with Montgomery in the lineup as well.
I want to take the Falcons. I really, really do. I'm going to take the Falcons to win. This is a really crazy bet, but I think the Bears cover. I think this is a 1-point win for the Atlanta Falcons, and I'm going to take the over 48.5 in that matchup. All right, up next, a little NFC East action. The Philadelphia Eagles are 8-1. They're 6.5-point favorites. They're headed to Indianapolis, home of the Pat McAfees. The Colts are 4-5-1. The over/under is 45.5. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles minus the 6.5. I'm going to take the under 45.5, though.
Yeah, let me see. This will probably be like 31-10. Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles, and I'll take the Eagles and cover that 6.5, and I'm going to take the under as well.
Up next, the New York Gary V Jets are 6-3.
I like that.
They're headed to the New England Patriots, who are 5-4. The Patriots are actually 3.5-point favorites in this game, and the over/under is a disgusting 38 points. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
This is tough. I mean, the Jets been playing pretty good football here, man. You know, winning record. It's been a nice season so far in New York for both teams. Vegas got to know something. Why are the Patriots favored in this one? I'm gonna go with Vegas. I'm gonna take the Patriots in this one. I'm gonna take them to cover the 3.5. This is a great test for the Jets. This game will let you know where the Jets stand. 100%.
Yeah, these two teams when they play, it's always an interesting matchup. I think the Jets take this one. I think the Patriots won the first matchup. I think the Jets coming off their last big win against the Buffalo Bills. I think they're going to try and keep that momentum rolling. I like the New York Jets to win this game. I'm actually going to take the over 38 here. I feel like that's just disgustingly low, and I think for some reason, you know, one of these teams is going to score like a defensive touchdown in this game. I'm going to say the New York Jets score a defensive touchdown in this game.
I like it. Yeah, their secondary been balling out, man. Sauce Gardner doing big things over there.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic and great marketing. I mean, with a name like Sauce, he's all over the sauce market right now. So shout out Sauce Gardner. I think he signed something in hot sauce, a card or something like that. So big shout out to Sauce Gardner. All right, next up, best game in NFL this week. Of course, with the best team.
I'm trying to think who you sound like when you say that.
It's going to be the Washington Commanders, who are 5-5. They're 3-point favorites. They headed to H-Town. The Texans are 1-7-1. Over under in this game is 41.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You already know where I'm going, Joe.
Yeah.
Give me the Commanders minus the 3. I'm gonna take the over 41.5. Where you at, Thenick? Where you at, Thenick? Trap game or no? Trap game or no?
I'm going with the Washington Commanders on this one, man. I think y'all will cover the 3 one time. 41.5. I think, let me see, it'll probably be like 24-10. I'm going to take the under.
Authentic's taking the under. All right, next up, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be, this is an insane. The Los Angeles Rams are 3-6. They are headed to Nolans to face the Saints, who are 3-7. The Saints are 2.5-point favorites. The over-under, if you would have ever heard of an over-under between a Saints and a Rams game being 39,
right,
you'd be running to the betting window to take the over. But this year is a little bit different. This game is weird. I think Stafford's going to be playing. I guess I'm going to take the Rams. I'm going to take the Rams to upset the Saints. And I'm going to take the over 39. That seems a little ridiculous to me.
I saw what's my man, Jameis Winston, man, he was getting interviewed.
I did see that.
And he was saying, like, he thought the policies over there where you couldn't lose your job to injury. He was very upset. He couldn't speak on it too much. But Andy Dalton has been playing pretty decent, I'd say. They've been trying their best to give him a little bit of pass protection. Andy Dalton seems to be a quarterback that if you don't got pass protection, it's Rap City Big Tigger in the basement for him. But I'm going to take the Saints in this one, man. I think the Saints are on the up and up. Kamara's still there. They got Chris Olave doing things. That offense can move the ball. I'm going to take the Saints to cover, and I'm going to take that over that 39 one time.
Man, 77 inches of snow in 24 hours has forced the Cleveland Browns, who are 3-6, to play at Buffalo via Detroit, who is Buffalo 6-3, not Detroit. They are 8-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 50. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Buffalo Bills minus the 8. I'm going to take the under 50, though, in this game.
50? That's wild. That is
with Cleveland
wild.
Seems a little interesting. So they're basically saying that Cleveland's going to score, I can't do the math right now, but a lot more points than I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's 50. That's wild. I'm going to go, that's major. 8 and 50. That is major right there. I do think the Browns can hang around in this game. Give me the Browns to cover in this one, man, and I'm going to take the under, but the Bills will win this one outright.
Up next, the Carolina Panthers and Baker Mayfield is headed to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Ravens are 6-3. They are a whopping 13-point favorite in this game. The over-under is 41. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Now, look, the Panthers been surprising people. They fired their coach. They got rid of CMC. People thought they were just going to fold and tank and get ready for the draft and whatnot, man. They've been fighting in all of these games. Look, I'm going to take the Panthers to cover. I think the Ravens will definitely win this one outright, and I'm going to take the over 41. That Panthers offense, I know you're not too hype on Baker Mayfield, but it was P.J. Walker before that. I mean, he's just – the dude literally said when he threw that, 65-yard air pass to take the lead in overtime, he said it's the farthest he's ever thrown a football in his entire life. So he's riding on hope, if you ask me, man. So, I mean, Baker Mayfield can't be that much worse. I'm going to take the Panthers to cover, man, Ravens to win it. And, I'm going to take the over that 41.
This is a big game for the Baltimore Ravens, okay? I'm going to take Baltimore because I've been watching The Wire, rewatching it again for probably the 5th time. Give me Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens minus the 13 and give me the over 41. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens might score 35 points before halftime in this
Listen,
game.
if that happens, the Ravens are legit. I know a lot of people right now, it's so hard to gauge what the Ravens are doing right now. Are they a team that you could see making a Super Bowl run right now? All these questions are being asked. If they come out here and they blow the Panthers out, you know they're for real. But Lamar Jackson has struggled against, weaker competition the whole entire year, man. Finishing games in the fourth quarter has been a problem for them. So this is a game I'm going to definitely be keeping my eyes on.
Up next, it's the Motown Lions. They are 3-6. They headed to face the New York Authentics, who are 7-2. The Giants are 3-point favorites. The over-under is 44.5. Kickoff is at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know either, man.
Shout out to the graphics department. That one looks clean. Listen, this game is super sketchy right here. If the Giants were favored by 3.5, I would take the Lions to cover. That -3, though, scares me. I'm going to take the Giants minus the 3. I'm going to take the under 44.5. That's where I'm at. What you got, Authentic?
Okay. All right. We have a saying on this show, man, and it's, we're not going to be optimistic. We're not going to be pessimistic, but we're going to be realistic. I realistically think the Detroit Lions are going to win this game today. That's just what my gut is telling me. I don't know. All week I've been thinking the Detroit Lions are going to win it. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think that this Detroit Lions offense is going to present a problem for the New York Giants. The key for the Giants to win this game, they got to come out and stop that run early and make the Detroit Lions and Jared Goff predictable. That's what you want, and force Jared Goff to turn the ball over, and then I think we can have a chance in this game. The Detroit Lions are averaging 24 points a game. Don't let them get to that 24. I'm going to just keep it real here. I'm a Giants fan, but I'm going to keep it real. I'm not going to be one of these fanatics, okay? I think the Lions are going to win this game, and it's going to be something like 27-23, something like that for the Lions. We'll see, though. I'm still crossing my fingers for my New York
Reverse
Giants.
psychology, maybe a little bit of reverse
maybe a
psychology.
little bit. Maybe a little bit. You know, in this way, I'll be surprised if we can win the game.
There you go. There you go. Up next, the Las Vegas Raiders are 2-7. They're headed to Denver, who's 3-6. I don't think anybody thought these two teams would be this bad. The Broncos
Definitely
are favored
not.
by 3. Over/under is 41. Kickoff is at 4:05. Who you got, Awthentik?
I'm going to take the under, first of all, man. The Broncos been struggling to score points. They barely get in the red zone, and when they get in the red zone, they always fall flat on their face and never get in the end zone. Russell Wilson been struggling this year. You said it in the intro of this game. Like, these are two teams that were supposed to make this division that much better, right? You thought that the Raiders would be, or that conference, you thought the Raiders were going to be a team when they got Devontae Adams. I mean, they had Hunter Renfrow over there, man. They're making moves. They got Waller. They got Jacobs at running back. You thought they were going to be in the mix. I think they started off, 0-5 this year, 0-4, something like that. Like, that ain't the vibes. With the Broncos, you thought you were a quarterback away. No, sir, you were not a quarterback away, and Russell Wilson has been struggling crazy. I'm going to take the Raiders in this one, man. I think they've been playing a little bit better football as of late. I'm going to take the Raiders to win this, and I'm going to take the under.
I'm right there with you. Give me the Raiders and give me the under. I think this is going to be a very, very close game, sloppy game. I don't know. I got a weird feeling about the Raiders in this game. It's tough because it's in Denver, but I'm gonna take the Raiders in this matchup. Up next is two of the most overrated teams in the National Football League, according to the Beard statistics.
All right, man, I got it from here, man. This guy.
It's the Dallas Cowboys, who are 6-3. They're 1.5-point favorites. They're headed to Minneapolis Backpack Wrap Vikings, who are 8-1. The over/under in this game is 48.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I got a couple questions for you here. That's what I got. All right. Now, when you say they're overrated, where do you think they're being rated? Let's call it a power rankings, okay? We got about a good 12 minutes here. We can do this. We got 3 games left. Let's call it a power rankings. Where do you think they're being rated, and where do you think they should be rated?
Well, I mean, I'm just poking the bear a little bit here.
I know,
okay?
but you're not lying, you know?
I think that the Vikings win against Buffalo was impressive, right? But I still haven't seen the Vikings, like, dominate any game. You know, and to me, that's a little worrisome for a team that I think most people have in their top 5, right? I think the Dallas Cowboys are probably in most people's top.
Forget the Cowboys.
Okay,
Forget the Cowboys.
Vikings.
I want to focus on the Vikings.
Yeah. So I think they're more towards the back end of a top 10 team than they are the front end of a top 5.
I'm good with that. Okay. Well, as far as picking this game, man, I got to take the Vikings in this one, man. I saw the Vikings, man. Like, that game against the Buffalo Bills, bro, they just showed you that offense can do a lot. And I like to see people when they're challenged. Justin Jefferson and Kirk Cousins were in a spot there where you pretty much thought that game was over. And Justin Jefferson makes the catch of the year, 250-0. That's crazy, yo. Shout out to Kai one time. 28-21. I like that score right there. I'm going to go with that score. I'm going to go with that 28-21. I'm going to give it to the Vikings because I really want the Vikings to win. The Cowboys, man, y'all 2 in the mix right now for the NFC East. And the Giants got to play 5 NFC East games in our last 7 games.
That's
I need the Cowboys to lose a couple games here.
This game is super tough. I think this is actually going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be super entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Vikings to win this game, and I'm going to take the over. But I do think this is a really entertaining game. I think it's going to be not high scoring, but I think it's going to be pretty efficient scoring. So I think the Vikings probably pull this thing off like 20. I forgot what I picked during the week. But I'm going to go Vikings 28-25 is where I'm going to go.
I like that. I like that score.
Up next, it's my Cincinnati Bengals headed to
Cincinnati Bengals.
Who's 5-4. They're 3.5-point favorites. They're headed to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's 3-6. The over/under is 40. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This game's actually very important. If the Pittsburgh Steelers want to hang around, this is a must-win game for them. The Bengals, are just hovering, and they performed really well after that bad loss a couple weeks back. I'm going to take the Bengals in this game. I'm going to take the Bengals to cover, and I'm going to take the over 40.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Taking the over 40. I like the 3.5 for the Bengals. With no Jamar Chase, they've relied on the run, and Joe Mixon has been a key focus in this offense. But the Steelers know the task at hand, so I do think it does make it kind of tough for the Bengals here. Steelers going to come out here and try and stop the run by any means necessary. That's what it's going to be. I think the game will be kind of close. 3.5. You know what? I think it'll be a 3-point game. I take that back. I think Pittsburgh will cover that 3.5 one time. And I'll take the under. I'm gonna take the under, actually.
It's an interesting, like, I could go the exact same way you went, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm just obviously leaning a little bit, being a homer.
I'm rooting for Mike Tomlin too, man. I want him to keep that, that over 500 record going, man. 3-6 is gonna be tough.
I would think out of every single coach in the National Football League, I'd say outside of maybe Andy Reid, I'd say that Mike Tomlin is probably the most liked non-Steeler fan base head coach in the National Football League, right?
Yeah. He's a player's kind of coach, man. And I think for guys like, the Antonio Browns, the Kadarius Tonys, the Odell Beckhams, these players that, they kind of they struggle with the media a little bit. They kind of a hothead a little bit.
Need a little extra guidance.
They need that extra guidance, man, that damage control. Mike Tomlin's the best coach for that.
Yeah, so shout out Mike Tomlin. He's trying to avoid his first losing season ever.
Yeah.
Speaking of a team that you don't have to worry about losing seasons, the Kansas City Chiefs. Shout out to the Bluegrass Picker. They're 7-2. They're 5.5-point favorites. They're headed to LA to face the Chargers, who are 5-4. Talk about a must-win game. Also, Los Angeles Chargers. The over-under in this game is a fun 52.5. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic. Tell me what you got.
This is going to be a great way to round out the Sunday games, man. I'm going to be really looking forward to watching this game on Sunday night, man. It's crazy, man. We're just about a half an hour here away from kickoff, man, for the New York Giants. And Washington's playing at 1 o'clock today too, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Definitely can't wait to get to 1 o'clock here. But as far as this game goes, I'm going to take the Chiefs in this one, man. 5.5. I think they'll cover the 5.5. Justin Herbert is kind of having a bit of a slump, but this is what not enough people are talking about, right? When we talk about quarterbacks on the come up, people always talk about, he doesn't have his weapons, especially in New York. We've talked about Daniel Jones, for 3 years, about 4 years now, that he hasn't had the weapons. But you're seeing Justin Herbert this year without the weapons. I mean, Mike Williams relatively hasn't been on the field that much. Keenan Allen's been struggling with injuries all year long. He's relying on guys to step up in spots that are relatively unknown guys like Joshua Palmer's and these other wide receivers out here, man. But I think that Justin Herbert's doing a good job working with what he has out there on the field. Today, he's going to have his wide receivers back. This game should be pretty close, man. But I do think that the Kansas City Chiefs will cover the 5.5. I think it'll be a 7-point game. I think Justin Herbert's going to be driving late to try to make it happen, and the Chiefs will figure out a way to stop them. 50, is it 52? 52 and a half. We're going to get there. We're going to get there, man. I'm gonna take the Chargers in the upset. Last second field goal, and give me the over 52.5. I like it.
And the last game of the week in Mexico. Viva la Mexico! The San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49.
Hey, that was
good, bro. They're headed to the.
Wait, but how do you say "ers"? How do you say "ers" in Spanish? Because you got to.
Ustedes? They're headed to the Mexico Cardinals. The 49ers are 5-4. They're 8-point favorites. Arizona's 4-6. The over under in this game is 43.5. I'm gonna take the Cardinals to cover if Kyler Murray plays.
Yeah.
But I do think San Francisco comes out with this win, even though I need San Francisco to lose as a Washington Commanders fan. And I'm going to take the over 43.5. I think we just barely get over that.
Is DeAndre Hopkins dealing with some injury or something like that? Did I see something
Not that I know of.
Okay, I thought I saw something like that earlier. Maybe that's Devontae Adams. I could have got them confused. But if Kyler Murray plays, I'm taking the Cardinals outright to win this game. So, man, y'all know what it is. If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. I ain't even going to get it. If the Cardinals are going to win this game, I'm going to keep it funky like that. And I'm going to take the over in this one, man. This is going to be a Monday night primetime game. If Kyler Murray is out there, man, he's got to get it done, man. We've seen him in a couple of primetime spots here, man, and kind of fall flat, man. This kid is definitely struggling to throw the ball across the middle. And, just utilize you got to take a page out of Heineke's book, man. Like, yo, you got Hopkins out there, just throw Hopkins the ball. Whenever in doubt, man, just chuck it up. You see Heineke, he'll throw that thing into triple coverage. and then a referee gets in the way, somebody falls down, you get a big play, man. Do it. Do it. That's what I want to see.
So it is the 49ers ustedes a Cardinales. Shout out Mario CP for the translation. Appreciate you.
Como se dice Cardinals. Let's get it.
Hey, Price, man, come on. You can't get rid of the beard.
Let's go. Cancel culture.
I'm in the title of the show, man. That is every single game on the slate in week 11. We want to thank everybody who has joined us today. That was an absolutely fire beginning to the show.
That was great.
Definitely appreciate everybody bringing all of the questions early on in the show. Hopefully, we can provide that sort of, help and entertainment all in one place when it comes to
But don't ever forget,
football.
We are not financial advisors over here at Authentic and The Beard.
Nope.
If you fall flat in your fantasy league, don't be tagging me on Twitter. Don't be sending me no emails, all right? I'm just giving you a couple little opinions here and there, all right?
But if you do good, make sure you let everybody know where you got the information from. Tell them where
DJ Khaled vibes all day.
But we want to wish everybody good luck on this game, and definitely stay tuned. This next week's going to be an interesting week. Obviously, the world famous Giant Overreaction on Monday, the recap show on Tuesday, and then the rest of the week is going to get a little interesting. There's going to be Thanksgiving, so we're going to have a lot of, interesting ways of bringing you guys some good content this week. This big game on Thanksgiving with the Giants and the Cowboys. There's a lot going on this weekend in football, but we're super, super stoked and excited. Today was an awesome show. There was a lot of interaction, a lot of people from, new faces, new names, people coming from Facebook, from Twitch, from YouTube. We wouldn't be able to do this without y'all. So I just want to make sure that, the love is sent back to everybody here holding it down in the chat, because you guys are really the fuel that powers the engine of the parlay.
Big facts, man. Definitely appreciate all y'all pulling up, man. Best of luck in all y'all fantasy games this week, man. This is that time, man. You got to make your run. I know I got to make my run. I need about 2-3 straight wins here going up against the Beard this week, man, and trying to make this playoff run. I'm about to plug Kenyon Drake in my lineup over Drake London. That's what it's looking like.
I think I've been, paying attention to Marge, giving play-by-play pregame warm-up commentary on the Giants. And I think I have Graham Gano as one of my kickers. I think I'm going to have to make an adjustment.
Oh, yeah, Graham Gano is one. I saw Graham Gano on the waiver wire. I said, give me that. I had the Detroit Lions kicker entering this week. I was like,
I love Graham Gano as a kicker, but she was saying that during the pregame warm-ups that the wind is so bad, the field goal net blew from the sidelines over onto the field. Said he missed like a 20-yard field goal, and it was 30 yards wide right.
Hey, that's why he's warming up right now. This automatic Gano we talking about right now. Gano is going to make it happen.
I might have to find a quick little replacement kicker. Yes, the Joe Gibbs hat is in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go hit that rabbit.
Y'all remember how that went last time, man. You know what I'm saying? We had to put the hat to rest for a little bit there.
Yeah, but, we're back on track with a win against the Eagles. I'm going to go hit that rabbit's foot. We'll go set some lineups. Shout out to everybody in chat. We appreciate you guys.
Definitely, man. Y'all know what it is over here, man. Y'all keep living those dreams. Keep raising that bar, man. It's going to be a trying holiday season here, man. Make sure y'all grind it out, get through it. Have a great Thanksgiving and then roll that right into Christmas. I noticed this year that they're like rolling out all the Christmas stuff before Thanksgiving. Like they getting people
We
prepared.
already got a reef on our door, bro. Josie wanted to get the Christmas tree before Thanksgiving,
Yeah, I was talking to Patrick. He was putting up the Thanksgiving. He's putting up the Christmas tree like 2 weeks ago. So
I can't do it.
I can't do it either, man. But y'all know what it is, man. Keep living those dreams. Keep raising that bar, man. The universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Shout out to the podcast. Goat, rest in peace to Combat Jack. Y'all know what it is. We'll see y'all this week again, man. We got a lot of content. We're cooking up for y'all. We're going to see how this Thanksgiving thing goes, man. We got the Giants on Thanksgiving taking on the Cowboys. That's going to be an interesting one. The Eagles and the Washington Commanders both have their games on Sunday. So definitely stay tuned. We'll try to drop something in the community. Best of luck again to y'all with y'all fantasy this week. I'm about to get this dub against the Beard, man. And best of luck to the Giants. Best of luck to the Commanders. I'm still having trouble saying the Commanders. It's kind of interesting. And Cowboys fans, you know, we wish y'all well. We wish y'all well. You know what it is, man. Eagles fans, do your thing. Try to fly high and all that good stuff. Do what you do, man. We will catch y'all this week, though, man. Y'all be good. Enjoy y'all Sunday. Red Zone action. Peace.